go. This is Emily C., my new bestie.
I hate the idea that someone out there hates me. I even hate thinking that Al-Qaeda hates me. I think if they got to know me, they wouldn't hate me.
This stole the show. Emily C. was phenomenal.
There's something you need to know.
What?
You're doing great.
Look at my baby. Here she is. Emily. 10 out of 10. Huge fan.
I see Emily C says 123. I trust her. She's really good.
Listen, Turtle. You gotta watch your language. I'm already live. So you need to follow the FCC guidelines.
She destroyed, left nothing in her path. It was so good.
Hi, friends. I just had that feeling that I haven't had in a while where it started to go live and I was like, what if I just press end stream and not do this? So apparently we're having anxiety tonight. Yay. I hope everybody's having a good weekend. I was just racing. Carter just fell asleep. So I was just racing around doing 500 things. So let me just chill for a second and say hi. Hi, Romy. I will be your date to the debate on Thursday. I just saw your text message. Hi, Boozy. Did you all like the live stream? First, very fun thing first is that it's August now. So I have memberships that I can gift. So if you are here now and on a random Sunday night impromptu video, you are my people. And here you go. Yay. Zed's Dead Baby. That's an interesting name. Catastrophe. Oh my God, it's going too fast. Hold on. I Love Sarcasm. I love that name. Miss Priss and Spa Girl Amanda. Welcome. Thanks for being my new friends. I have 5 more I'll do in a couple minutes. I want to tell you why I felt really motivated to do this right now. First things first, I know that talking about Lindsay Clancy's case is a heavy topic. I don't want to get too, I don't want to bog you guys down on a Sunday night. I don't want you to leave here feeling devastated and emotional the way that this case can make you feel. So first, I want to promise you that you are not being a bad person if you're not feeling all of the feelings that this trial and this whole situation can make you feel. So I want to alleviate that stress from you. And I want to invite you instead to take any of those feelings of emotional devastation and channel it into rage at the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, because that's where I am right now. And I would like to bring you into the space that I am in right now. Because as David Unetti said, I am outraged, and I am going to show you why throughout the course of this evening. This came about because I've seen, I think that the debate about Lindsay's case in general to me feels different than the debate about if Karen hit John. I think that those conversations are starting to feel like there's not good faith on either side of the conversation when we're engaging in those conversations. I don't think they're productive. I don't think Tuesday Gazette invited me to go on her spaces once. And I told her, I don't think there's a need for that, because you're not going to convince me to think what you think. I'm not going to convince you to think what I think. We've all seen the exact same evidence. We've all seen the exact same testimony, and we've come to different conclusions, and we are set in those conclusions, and the conversation is never going to go anywhere. I think that the disagreement surrounding Lindsay's case has space for us to hear each other more and to understand each other and to understand the repercussions of villainizing Lindsay. And that's what kind of brought me to this tonight. Is I saw people that I typically agree with that are making arguments that that Lindsay, like, this is all done by design and this was intentional and it had nothing to do with mental illness. And I think that those people their opinions are coming from a good place. And I'm going to show you that in a second, but they're coming from a place of like wanting to advocate for her kids and wanting to find some semblance of justice. For me now, the justice I think that can be found in this case is pointing out how ridiculous it is that the Commonwealth is bringing this to trial the way that they are at all. And I think that a lot of the people who I don't agree with, whose takes that I'm seeing online, it's coming from the way that the Commonwealth is presenting this case. And what they're doing is not a one-off. This is not just like a whoopsies, like we're trying this case wrong. Typically we get it right. This is completely on brand for Massachusetts. Like, this is what Massachusetts does. This is all I've seen, is that they take a case where there is a clear, like, this happened, that this is the right, this is the wrong. And then they just like take a detour over to a land that they imagined, where they're like, this woman is a monster, I'm going to prove it to you. Or Stefan Diggs's case, like, this argument happened and we're I'm not even going to go down that road right now. But basically what I see is, yeah, lovely flight gets it. Witch burning. Side note, I saw somebody whose username was Salem Bitch Trials, and I cannot get it out of my head. I think it's so funny. And this is what I want to talk about tonight. And what I want to show you guys tonight is this entire testimony that I've seen so far, the argument, whatever you call it, the case in chief that's being brought. I'm not a lawyer, if anybody's new. Like, the legal terms are not going to be right. If you came here for the legal stuff, Peter's over talking about the same case right now. You can go hear all about the legal stuff. I want to talk about the Massachusetts stuff. The stuff that affects me. I live in Norfolk County. This is not a case in Norfolk County, which is starting to make me think that all of the district attorneys in Massachusetts are actually like in a battle right now to see who could be the worst. Because for a little while it was just like, oh, Michael Morrissey's bad, we got to get Morrissey out of office, and then like everything will be better. And then it was like, well, then Kelsey's case happened in, what was that, Plymouth County, Essex County? It's like, oh, well, you guys aren't great over there. And then there was Lucy Medina's case in Plymouth County or Essex County, one of the other counties. So far, Middlesex is Middlesex where O'Malley's case is. Yeah. So I really truly think that the district attorneys in Massachusetts are all like, how bad can we be? Oh, that was pretty bad what Morrissey did to Karen. Hold my beer. Because it's not great. And yes, let's talk about the bows for a second. First of all, you guys know I love a bow. I haven't worn one since I wore one on Ian Runkle's fundraiser, and Jimmy did a stream about it the next day, and he called my bow niche slutty, and then I never wore a bow again. So thank you, Jimmy, for the feedback. That was very helpful. The prosecutor has been wearing these childish bows in a courtroom, the sanctity of the courtroom, as Gilday called it. And it feels like she's trying to channel Lindsay's daughter, Cora, who loved bows, and is trying to like make the jury feel something. And she's not good at, that's the other thing. It's like, we're not even going to go into that tonight, but like, she's trying to make the jurors feel the feelings that like they would already be feeling just from the evidence in the case, and that's that. And instead she's trying to like hammer these things in. And to me, I think it does the opposite, where it's like, when you hear something emotional the first time, it feels really heavy. And then you hear that same emotional thing 17 more times, and by the end you're desensitized to it, and you're kind of like, okay, I can handle that now. Like, this is not okay, like, we're good. She's taking the sting out that she's trying to evoke, in my opinion. But so yeah, so there's that. Sorry, my brain just shut off for a second. The other thing I wanted to say before we get started, and I think this is really important, like I need you all to hear this. Something that is becoming very clear looking through the paperwork that we're going to go over tonight, the filing that I think is really important to see, is the fact that there was help for Lindsay. She just wasn't getting it from the people that she was asking for help. And I want you all to hear that everybody goes through struggles in their life, and there is help available, and there are medical professionals that know the right thing to do, that know how to help somebody in any situation. And I think it can get to feeling like a really dark place if you feel like you've asked for help and it hasn't worked. And I think that is part of what started to happen to Lindsay. And I want you all to know that there are better, if you're seeing a medical professional that is not helping, there is a better one out there. And if you feel like you're not in a place where you can advocate for yourself, there are strangers that will help you. Like, you are important and we need you here. And I didn't have time to pull any of the important numbers, but if anybody is familiar with any phone numbers or websites that you can call or check out for help that you want to share with the chat, I think that that's really important, because you never know who you could be helping. And I want every single one of you to know that there really are better medical professionals than the ones that Lindsay unfortunately came into contact with throughout her journey with mental health struggles. And with that, like I said, I don't want to bog you guys down too much. So here's 5 more memberships. That's the happy thing that I will give you. And then we will get started. Silver Swag, $12.85. Oh, no, you didn't get a membership. Well, you already had a membership. Melissa Jane. Yay. Lorraine Phillips. Georgia Jules 4C. Devin YT. Yay. And Stone's BB Cakes. Welcome, new friends. That's so fun. I love that. Okay, now I can close that tab. Okay. I always feel like a weight lifted when I can close a tab. All right, here's the first thing I want to show you, to kind of like, for you to like disclose my bias in this if it's not already clear. I made 2 posts on X, Twitter. Ew, I never call it X. Why did I do that? Oh no, I didn't just mean to do that. And now I don't have the other layout. Okay, everything's a mess already. You guys don't see that it's a mess, but it's a mess to me. Why won't that go away? Okay, I have 2 posts that I made that I want to share with you, because I think it kind of explains where my head is at on all of this. Okay, save, update. There we go. Oh, hey, expert. Okay, so this is a post I made the night before jury selection was starting, just to kind of like I said, to like tell you where my head is at in all of this. So in this one I wrote, jury selection in Lindsay Clancy's case starts tomorrow. As the discourse surrounding her trial begins to ramp up, I think the most important question is, what does justice for Cora, Dawson, and Callan look like? To answer this question, it is important to keep in mind that justice is not synonymous with punishment. For me, and this has even evolved since I wrote this, but for me, justice in this case is education. Now, the part where it's evolved is also justice in this case is rage against Massachusetts. To give Cora, Dawson, and Callan the power to protect and save children in the future, we as the general public need to listen and learn about postpartum psychosis. Vilifying Lindsay Clancy puts more children at risk by creating a stigma that will prevent future mothers in her position from seeking help. Writing Lindsay Clancy off as a monster absolves medical professionals from the reflection necessary to ensure that the mistakes in her treatment and care will not be repeated. Lastly, justice for Cora, Dawson, and Callan means listening without judgment to their father, Patrick Clancy, if/when, so when he took the stand. He is the person who knew all 4 of them best, and he is the person impacted. In 2024, he told The New Yorker, "I wasn't married to a monster. I was married to someone who got sick." And I think that's important to keep in mind, because if he's saying that she's not a monster, then who are we to say, actually, she Googled that? No, we should listen to the person who's most affected. Next, this is a post I made today for She's a Sea Creature. This is somebody exactly like what I was just saying, which is I think there are people that are in good faith making are on like the other side of this case. And it's coming from a good place. So that this was to post, this was a response to Nancy, who's a sea creature. Hi, Nancy, if you're here. So I said to her, "I know you, Nancy, and I appreciate that you're making these assertions from a well-intentioned place. So what I'm about to say is not with the hope that you'll change your mind or that we'll start a debate. Rather, I'd like to add something for you to consider." This is going to be a little repetitive from the last one, but I still think it's important. None of us, not even Patrick, can know definitively what happened in Lindsay's mind the night of the incident. Because of that, you may very well be right that she is simply a cold and calculated murderer. But here's the additional layer that I think is important, because it will have a direct impact on the safety and protection of mothers and babies in the future. If Lindsay truly was trying to get help, the way that Patrick explained that she was, then the medical field desperately wants us to label Lindsay Clancy as a murderer, a monster, someone who brought children into the world for the sick, perverse pleasure of one day taking them out. Because then the medical field doesn't have to change. They don't have to do better. They don't have to learn more about the effects of mixing and changing medication, or to reflect on their practice to consider if there were additional steps that could have been taken to ensure that Cora, Dawson, and Callan would be safe. And when I say they, I don't just mean the individual practitioners that she saw, but anyone who may find themselves treating a patient similar to Lindsay Clancy. Learning about Lindsay's experience with an open mind doesn't diminish the tragedy of the situation or excuse her actions. It creates an environment where people feel comfortable speaking freely about their own postpartum experience, which leads more struggling mothers to reach out for help and ultimately creates a safer world for kids like Cora, Dawson, and Callan in the future. So this is what we're going to look at tonight. And I say that just to actually, her post was kind of about bias in content creators. So this is to disclose my bias. This is what we're going to look at tonight and kind of like juxtapose with what is coming out in trial. So this is a document. The legal people in here probably understand what this means better, but it's basically, there's a civil trial or civil case that's being brought by Lindsay Clancy, like her attorneys, obviously, and like her family, against the doctors that she saw. So Dr. Jennifer Tufts, Goodhart, Diaz, Gelada, and the hospitals that she reached out to for help. And you can see just from this big, long paragraph of people, there were a lot of people that she was trying to get help from. I don't know, the First Amendment complaint, I think there was probably something first. I don't know what that all means. But this document is she is outlining her experience. And what we are going to do tonight is juxtapose what we're hearing in trial with what this document says. One thing I want to say before we do that, I know now from Karen's civil trial that you can write anything in these complaints. So I do think that disclosure is important on some level, because like I read the House defendant's civil complaint and it's crazy. It is just, they're just telling the story that they wish happened, because then there wouldn't be so many of us pointing fingers back at them, because they just want to point the finger at Karen. And I do understand that in these complaints, you can like kind of write anything. The difference with this is in that civil case, there is a ton of other evidence that we can actually like go through line by line and be like, this is wrong because this is wrong because this is wrong because. In Lindsay's case, there's only like, they have this small amount of evidence. They have her phone data that Ian Whiffin's going to come and teach us about crime tabs and stuff. They have the actions that happened, and they have her medical history and all this. It's not like they have a ton else that they're pulling from, and it's not like Lindsay's only highlighting certain things. The Commonwealth had access to this document prepping for trial. This was docketed on January 28th. They have had 8 months with this, that they could have used the information in this to inform their strategy in this case. And not only did they not do that, but they ignored it, and they're making up a whole bunch of other stuff instead. And it's weird. Like, why do you want her to be guilty? Like, why do they want her to be this guilty monster so badly? That's what I don't understand. That's what's making me really frustrated at the Commonwealth. So here's what we're going to do. It's not in any logical order because I didn't have a ton of time to prep this, and it is in the order of things that outraged me. So the first thing that we're going to look at is like what drew my attention to this in the first place, where I was listening to a stream about Lindsay earlier, and I should know who. I've listened to a whole bunch of stuff, so I actually can't even remember who right now. But they were talking about specifically this document, and they were reading something from it, and I went like pump the brakes. That is so different than what they just said in opening statements. So this is the first thing so what we're going to do, we're going to like watch a clip of what the Commonwealth is presenting in trial, and then we're going to read actually how Lindsay explained what was going on with her. Kylie, I appreciate this. Kylie said that she's been avoiding this one, but she's going to do it. She'll do it with me. And Kylie, I promise you, this is not going to go like, we're not doing a deep dive. We're going to the level of rage against Massachusetts. So what we're going to do, we're going to watch a clip and hear what the lady in the childish bow has to say. And then we're going to hear from Lindsay about what was actually going on. Here we go.
We expect during the course of this trial that you'll hear the defendant made claims that either right after Patrick left the house or after he called her from the CVS, depending on which version of the events she's telling, she heard a voice, a male voice, a voice that she had never heard before, a voice that she never heard again. And that voice told her that it was her last chance. She had to kill the kids so that she could kill herself. She immediately took action when she heard the voice, with no direction or details from this so-called voice, and she killed the children. Once she killed the children.
Okay. Before I go to the part that really outraged me, that I know I said I wasn't going to like harp on her tone, but my God, she had to kill the kids and then to kill herself. What are you doing? You're talking about the death of children and a woman's life. She had to kill the kid. Like, this is not a Dr. Seuss book. What is going on? The part that I really want to highlight is in the middle somewhere. So hold on.
CVS, depending on which version of the events she's telling, she heard a voice.
This part.
A male voice. A voice that she had never heard before, a voice that she never heard again.
A voice that she had never heard before and that she never heard again. So what is she insinuating here? She's making the insinuation that she heard this voice. She didn't even question it. She was just like, oh my God, okay, whatever you say, voice. And that's it, I'll do it. She says she never heard it before. She never heard it again. The voice didn't even like give her instructions about what, she just blindly followed. Now, first of all, even if that were the case, that sounds pretty deep in the depths of psychosis to me. I don't know. I've never just heard a voice telling me to do something. sometimes I wish that there was like a voice being like, okay, you have to like get going now. Like, but okay, we'll be serious because this is serious. Sorry, we're not making jokes. But that, even that on its own, which we're about to see is actually not even true, but even that on its own seems pretty like in the depths of, what are they calling it? Like mental defect or something that is like the politically correct way to say psychosis. That already sounds like you lost your case right there, and it's not even right. So let's see in her civil thingamajiggy what she actually says. So again, Childish Beau lady said she had never heard a voice before and she never heard it again. Okay. On November 29th, 2022, Lindsay began treating with Nurse Gelada. Lindsay reported that she was, quote, anxious and frightened about what is happening, and that she blamed herself. Nurse Gelada correctly considered a bipolar presentation and prescribed Seroquel, an antipsychotic and mood stabilizer. After starting Seroquel, Lindsay's condition took a dramatic turn for the worse. She developed ideation and began experiencing what she described as, quote, intrusive thoughts, which were actually auditory hallucinations. The voice said, I will not be the same. I want to die. After starting Seroquel, blah, 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 we read that part, Lindsay openly communicated her escalating internal turmoil to her husband, her parents, and her providers. She described her emotional state as, quote, emotionless and, quote, like a zombie, attributing this profound affective blunting to the Seroquel. We're skipping ahead a little in the document. On December 15th, 2022, Patrick called Nurse Gelada's office to report that, quote, Lindsay had a devastating week. This is December 15th, 2022. And that it was, quote, the worst day for Lindsay. She had horrible thoughts all day. Lindsay had auditory hallucinations all day, every day. She felt debilitated, not interested in anything, exhausted, and could not get out of bed. The hallucinations were loud and continued all day, saying, I will never be the same. I will never be me again. And, quote, you are damaged. You will never be the same. The only option is to die. Lindsay told her husband, Patrick, I have thoughts of harming the kids. She also told her mother about these thoughts. Because she was in a psychotic state, Lindsay also had paranoid delusions that people could hear her thoughts and that she would be locked in a hospital and have her children taken away. Now, this is what I mean by we need to channel the sadness that could evoke in you to outrage at Massachusetts, because what is Childish Beau lady doing? Lying to the jurors and lying to the general public who is making assumptions about Lindsay's mental state based on what they think. Well, that was weird. I just didn't click on it and it just went forward. The general public is making assumptions about Lindsay's mental state based on what we're trusting the Commonwealth to tell us the truth about. And we're listening to them and they're lying to us. They have this document just like I do. All you have to do is go on Suspicious Sauce Dee on Twitter. I'm sure that actual lawyers know really where to find that, but I just go to Dee and you type in Lindsay Clancy and you scroll down and, oh, look, there's the document that tells you that you're about to lie to the jury and the general public about her never hearing voices before and never hearing them again. So that was where my outrage started. And then I was like, well, what else have they been lying to us about? And that brought me to a whole bunch of other places. So we're going to skip ahead a little bit to part of Patrick Clancy's testimony. And we're going to then juxtapose that with that same document. Here we go.
Writing here that you said was Lindsay's, correct?
It looks like it, yeah.
And then
okay, so this part right here is the very, very end of Childish Beau lady's friend's redirect. I don't even know their names. I don't even want. Also, they look too much alike. Maybe that's why she wore the bow to like differentiate. Because this is the other one that doesn't wear a bow. But she I'll put a bow on while this is on. And this is what she's ending redirect. This is like her big, like this is you're gonna see at the end. She's like, thank you, that's all. This is like her last hurrah with like her star witness. Okay.
Down here, there's a note that's in different handwriting, correct?
Yeah, I would say so.
So were you aware that Lindsay was using this notebook to communicate back and forth with the nanny about Callan's care?
She had different notebooks. She always had a notebook that she would leave for the babysitter or for me.
And so, for example, on Tuesday, September 4th, she wrote, last fed at 6 a.m., give him a bottle whenever he wakes up. He likes it very warm. He's been resisting the bottle. If he won't drink it, after 45 minutes of trying, please text me to let me know. Put down for next nap 1 hour after he wakes. Try to put down drowsy but awake. But if he cries, pick him up and rock, bounce, or hold him until asleep, then put down. He usually sleeps 45 minutes, but let him sleep as long as he wants. So these are very detailed notes that Lindsay is sending to the nanny, correct?
Yeah.
I just have to interrupt for 1 second because this is not the point of this clip. That's just being a mom. Like, that's just helpful. If I was watching somebody's baby, infant, child that can't do anything for the helpless little infant, I would want them to tell me exactly when to do what, like feed them this at this time. Like that is just helpful. But childish bow lady's friend disagrees. Also, I can't even find my bows right now. That's what I was just looking for.
And then she also wrote, if you have time, wash and cut up veggies, sweet potatoes, 1-inch cubes peeled, broccoli, small pieces, peppers, 1-inch pieces, plastic Ziploc bags to put them in. Next bottle, 2.5 hours after the first bottle, correct?
I believe what you're reading. Yeah.
So very particular about what she wanted the nanny to do, how she wanted her to do it, and when to feed Callan, when to put him down for a nap, all of those things. Very particular, correct?
Sounds like it. Yeah.
Again, Thursday, September 29th, 2022. Callan last fed at 8:45. Please put him down for a nap at 9:35. We will be home from gymnastics at 11:45. Clean clothes and dryer if you get to it. So again, very specific times for putting him down and when to get up and asking her to do additional work like laundry and things like that, correct?
Yeah.
Again, October 6th, 8 at 8:15, fell asleep at 8:40. Changing tables now in the bathroom. If he wakes before 9:40, give him 15 minutes to settle himself back to sleep. I'm hoping he will sleep till 10:15. If he is still asleep at 10:40, wake him. Feeding at 11 a.m. First try bottle. If he doesn't take it after 15 minutes, make oatmeal. 2 tablespoons of oatmeal. Make thin with breast milk. Can heat for 5 to 10 seconds. Again, very specific directions on what she wants done and how she wants Callan cared for, correct?
Yeah.
And throughout this notebook, it's more of the same, correct? Or have you even seen that?
I haven't seen it. Yeah.
I have nothing further. Thank you.
Oh, you have nothing further. That was like your big bang boom at the end. I found my bow. Before I get into the actual reason why I wanted to show that, that prompted me to look up what I had in my emails. And this is what I wrote for my mom. Around 5 to 5:30, we do dinner, which is usually puffs, and he feeds himself in a pouch that he can hold by himself, but might need a little bit of help with. You can give him any food you want at this time. After dinner, we give him a bath because he usually gets messy at dinner. Then we put him in his pajamas and a nighttime diaper, which is in the bottom right-hand drawer of his dresser. 6 o'clock, depending on how he's feeling, from 6 to 6:45, we do something to get him ready for bed. It goes on and on. This is for my mom. Like, this was for my mother who raised me. Like, that's not the big gotcha that you thought it was going to be, childish bow lady's friend. But alas, the insinuation, what she's going for here, is that Lindsay was doing all of that because she's a control freak. She's this controlling person that just needs to control everything around her. And if she doesn't have control over it, then nobody should live. That's basically what she's insinuating. So let's go back to the document now and see how come everything is not as it should be? Hold on. Let's see the information that they had access to when writing that line of questioning. As described by Patrick Clancy, before Lindsay became ill, she was dedicated to being a mom, even over-dedicated, worked twice as hard as most. She rarely took a break to rest. Lindsay, quote, loved our children and, quote, never took her frustration out on the kids. She remained as affectionate with the kids as always. Lindsay's mother-in-law, now, like, I have the best mother-in-law, but like I know that like mother-in-law relationships can be difficult, let alone a mother-in-law relationship with the woman who just took your grandbabies out of this earth. And still, this is Lindsay's mother-in-law, Susan Clancy, testified in grand jury proceedings that she, quote, loved everything about Lindsay. She was a fun-loving, doting wife and mother. She loved her kids and was a nurturing mother who smiled all the time. Lindsay's sister, Allison, described Lindsay as, quote, the kind of person who cares deeply for the people she loves. She shows up for the celebrations and writes handwritten notes to show her love and appreciation. She's also there in times of need and finds just the right words to provide comfort and support. Lindsay consistently conveyed profound affection for her children and her husband. She had never previously engaged in any form of physical harm towards her children. The Commonwealth had access to that from the people that knew her best when they decided that their big home run at the end of their redirect was to point out how controlling she was of the babysitter. Okay. Yeah. Teaspoon of Splenda said, when your in-laws love you, that's a big green flag. And like the fact that they're still standing by her, they understand that this was not somebody like experiencing a murderous rage that had been bubbling up inside of them. This is somebody who got sick and needed help and got the exact opposite of help. And now is getting a whole Commonwealth of Massachusetts is getting the opposite of help. And We're All Mad Here said this entire thing is heartbreaking. Yes, it is. Tonight we are raging. Tonight we are not getting our hearts broken. Tonight we are getting angry that Massachusetts is doing this to us at all. It's doing this to Lindsay, is doing this to Patrick, is doing this to the first responders. The fact that they're re-traumatizing those poor. Also, is this a sign of me getting old? I don't know why they ask the every single first responder when their birthday is. Like that seems not important testimony at all, but every first responder that takes the stand, they're like, how do you spell your last name and when's your birthday? And then all these first responders are like April 2nd, 1996. And I'm like, oh my God, I like remember April 2nd, 1996. Like you guys are such little babies. And these poor first responders that had to see the most devastating thing that they're probably going to never forget for their entire lives, or now have to sit there and relive it in public because Massachusetts decided this was like the hill that they were going to take us all down on. And I can't stand that for us. Here's the next clip. And like, also, I want to say I owe Patrick Clancy an apology because when I didn't know all the details of this case and when I first heard about it, I think I even said it on a stream once. Like I was like, why didn't Patrick take one of the kids, like give Lindsay like a little break, like just one of them come in the car and go drive to go pick up dinner. And then seeing him on the stand, no, that is not. He deserves absolutely no blame, no scorn, nothing. He did everything right. He advocated for Lindsay. He stayed up to date on what was going on with her medications. When he realized that she was not getting the treatment that she should have been getting and that things were getting worse, he demanded that they go together in person to go meet with the doctors, because he was like, why are we only you're doing these 10-minute telehealths and they're just giving you more medicine and they're not helping you. Like, he sat there with he's a good man. And for anybody like online that's saying like he was cheating, no, just stop that. That's not, if that were true, I promise you, the Commonwealth would have been thrilled with that. That would have been all over their opening statements. They have all their phone extractions and everything. He was not doing anything wrong. If he had even sent a single text message that was like borderline flirty to another person, the Commonwealth would have blown it up on the wall. They would have like handed out copies of it to the jurors. They would have eaten that up. I promise you that was not the case. I just know that because Massachusetts is so bad at this. Okay, here's the next clip.
Was there a time after Dawson's birth where
Okay, in this clip, the Commonwealth is going to seize the opportunity to reframe a very clear bout with mental illness that we're going to see they have detailed records of. They're going to reframe it to like, we're a control freak again and we like need to go on a cleaning spree instead of mothering or some kind of nonsense.
she wanted to declutter your garage?
Maybe at some point.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did you assist her with that?
Yeah.
Okay. And how was that done?
We had a lot of stuff to throw away. And I think we sold some stuff on Facebook Marketplace. We just had a lot of stuff.
So did the two of you go through the items in the garage and organize it into what you would keep, what you would throw away, and what you would sell?
Yes.
Okay. And so it was very organized?
I would say so, yeah.
Okay. And you finished the project, is that correct?
It was always ongoing.
Oh, God forbid. Well, let's see where she got that from and what was actually going on. So this is in that same document. It says, under the heading, Third Pregnancy and Initial Postpartum Period, Lindsay gave birth to Callan on May 26, 2022. Both Patrick and Lindsay took parental leave following Callan's birth. Lindsay demonstrated significant activation and hypomanic behavior, including an extensive program of exercising beginning only 1 week after delivery. She woke every day before the children at 4 a.m., ran 3 miles, did spinning for 30 minutes on the Peloton, and then 30 minutes of aerobics. On July 4th, 2022, only 5 weeks after delivery, she ran a 5-mile race. Lindsay's sister Allison observed that unlike her usual sensible self, Lindsay, and this is like, if you know, you know, like this is like the red flag. Unlike her usual sensible self, Lindsay impulsively bought into Beachbody, multi-level marketing scheme, purchasing products to resell. She made videos of her exercise routines, posted them on Facebook, and encouraged friends to join the program. She was losing it. These early postpartum behaviors constituted a hypomanic episode that, combined with her history following Dawson's birth, should have immediately suggested bipolar disorder to any competent psychiatric provider who obtained an adequate history. Now, Lindsay's desperate efforts to seek help. At approximately 12 weeks postpartum, Lindsay's mood switched suddenly to anxiety and depression. She experienced debilitating anxiety, insomnia, sleeping approximately 3 hours per night, and exhaustion during the day. She had no motivation, and suddenly she could not exercise. Everything about her body felt heavy and required effort. It was a chore to dress or shower. Her parents came from out of state to help care for the children. Now, let's see how we spin that one. So like, no, it was not just like I wanted to reorganize the garage because I'm a control freak. This was, and yeah, Mary Bagwell, I don't have any control over any ads. Melanie talks sometimes about, I think there is a way that I can like block certain ads or something. I have no idea. I will say that YouTube Premium is like so worth it. If you're on here a lot. But I know that that's not easy for everybody, but it is really worth it. But I'm sorry. If I could if there's a way to turn them off, I would. I don't want you guys having to deal with that. Anyways, back to this. So she was not just like, oh, like I want to ignore the kids and clean the garage. She's all over the place. Like, for anybody who has had a baby, imagine getting on the Peloton. And Patrick had even said like she had like significant tearing. Like sitting on a Peloton seat is not comfortable anytime, let alone a week after a child came out from there. She is not like stable in her faculties at this point. And the Commonwealth had access to this. They should know that. Okay.
But after Patrick had finished his paternity leave and was back to
Oh yeah, so now we're back over to opening statements. I told you this was just a hodgepodge of what I was getting outraged at in the moment. This is how we're going to spin at the just everybody take a deep breath and then we can all rage together because this is insane.
work full time, when she no longer had a nanny to watch the baby, do laundry, tidy up the house, follow her schedule, when she was responsible for it all. It was hard. It was hard for her to maintain that control. It was hard.
You could have stopped right there, lady, childish bow lady. Yeah, it is. That was hard, I'm sure. That is, your husband had 2 weeks of paternity leave and then he had to go back to work. And I think they did still have the babysitter, so I don't even know why she just lied about that. But yeah, it was hard, but not for the reason that she's about to say. Let's find out from Shano's sister, Shannon, one end Shannon, why she thinks it was hard.
Responsible for it all. It was hard. It was hard for her to maintain that control. It was hard for her to bond with her kids. And in efforts to maintain control, she withheld information from her husband, from her doctors. She reported serious symptoms that were inconsistent with her daily activities, you'll hear. And ultimately, on January 24th, 2023, the defendant made a calculated decision.
A calculated decision. Now, first, my friend Smith Benigo just did, and she, like, all of her videos are like 10 out of 10, amazing. This most recent one that she did about Lindsay's mental health was like, she's just so good. And she explained something that I think is really important, which is that even because Lindsay was a nurse, I think medical professionals kind of relied on her self-reporting more than they might. I don't know what was happening in the doctor's office, but Sam was talking about how when you are in the throes of anything that you're suffering from, even if it is something that you are an expert in, your self-reporting is not accurate. It is not possible for you to diagnose yourself. It is not possible for you to like see yourself in that moment clearly. She gave the example of like, if she's a world-renowned like addiction specialist and she owns the best facility in America, and then suddenly you're struck with addiction, you can't treat yourself. It is not possible to just see yourself clearly in those moments. So it's not that she's lying to her doctors. It is that she's not self-reporting accurately because she can't see herself accurately. Romy says it's called masking. When I had PPD, I didn't tell anyone out of fear. It's not that uncommon. And I think this is so important because that is what I was getting at with those posts at the beginning. I think that if we villainize what Lindsay was going through, then you're not going to have people like Romy being honest about what they were going through and what they were feeling. And when we are able to like speak freely about it and be open about it and like talk about this as if it is a fact of life because it is, then somebody who might be going through this in the moment, who's sitting there thinking, I haven't told anybody out of fear, will feel more comfortable reaching out for help. And ultimately that is the goal. But let's see. Maybe that was supposed to go before something. There were parts, I told you, this is thrown together. I think I had something I wanted to say about that in the document, but I didn't put it in the right place. I have that other document open. Hold on. I'm not going to be able to find it. Let's watch the next clip and then I'll figure out why I wanted to talk about that. Oh, so there's 2 clips now about they just spin everything. So what we're going to watch now is, okay, this part to me is so ridiculous. They basically, the Commonwealth wants to let me just get my act together. The Commonwealth wants us to think that Lindsay was doctor shopping, kind of the way the insinuation is like her actions were similar to what you would see somebody who, like in the throes of addiction, who is trying to get like all the pills and like all the different types of pills and everything, except she's getting SSRIs and like antidepressants. It's not like drug-seeking behavior to be getting antidepressants. Like that is not the actions that they are trying to say that she was doing, and the actual actions that she was doing are just so different, and her motivation was very clear. And yet the Commonwealth is like, well, actually, like she is just wants to see this doctor and that doctor and get more drugs and more. Okay, let's hear about that. Let's see what really happened. Yeah, Quinn gets it. Quinn said, so she was trying to get a doctor that would help? Yeah. Thank you, Devin. Thank you, my new member, Devin. Okay.
And do you recall attending a wedding on September 17th, 2022?
Yeah,
And where was that wedding?
New Hampshire.
Was it just you and Lindsay that went, or did the whole family go?
We brought Kellen.
And when you were at that wedding, do you recall having a conversation with Lindsay about medication?
Yes.
What did she say to you?
We were walking downtown and she said, I think I'm going to start taking Zoloft.
And did she tell you why she wanted to start taking Zoloft?
She said, I think it's really going to help with my anxiety and with going back to work.
And did she tell you how she was going to go about getting Zoloft?
Yeah, I asked her, how are you going to get Zoloft? It's a prescription. And she said, usually just ask the doctor and they'll give it to you.
And did she tell you that she was going to see a psychiatrist?
Yeah, I believe so.
And when she did that, did she tell you who she was going to see?
No.
Okay. Well, let's see. During the postpartum period following her second child, so the what the childish bow lady's friend was just talking to Patrick about was the time period with Callan, where she was experiencing like the most severe bout of postpartum depression at that point, that she had felt thus far. This passage is going to tell us about the period following the birth of her second child. So it says, during the postpartum period following her second child, Dawson's birth, Lindsay was initially elated with increased energy. Patrick described that, quote, she had manic behavior for multiple days. In October 2020, she had an episode. Oh, this is the one that should have gone with the garage. She had an episode of decluttering to, quote, simplify her life, obsessively cleaning and discarding items. She said she felt, quote, amazingly on top of things. Her thoughts raced, and she constantly felt pressure to be active. So the whole cleaning thing was not like, oh, she just like wanted to boss Patrick around and clean the garage. It was that she was having a manic episode. After her second pregnancy, anxiety emerged at approximately 2 months postpartum. This is the important part. Although Lindsay was offered Zoloft by a psychiatrist, she declined at that time after the birth of her second child due to concerns about breastfeeding. Her symptoms resolved through exercise, healthy diet, meditation, and several therapy sessions. So when she says to her husband, I think I'm going to take Zoloft, she was remembering back to the last pregnancy when the psychiatrist that she was seeing said, I want to put you on a Zoloft prescription. And she considered it at that time and then said no. And now that she is having those same feelings, but more helpless and worse, she hearkened back to that memory and then said, oh, I can reach out to that doctor who already told me I needed this, and I can get the prescription that I had declined 2 years earlier. So this is not like crazy. Yes, I have a childish bow in my hair like the crazy lady. These prior postpartum episodes, including the hypomanic symptoms following Dawson's birth, were critical indicators that should have alerted competent psychiatric providers to the risk of bipolar disorder and the potential for more severe postpartum psychiatric complications following subsequent pregnancies. That is an important thing for us to keep in mind, because these are symptoms, it sounds, that like get worse with each pregnancy. It's like, it's almost like your body remembers, and then so it's like, oh yeah, I remember this, and now I'm adding on more hormones, and it's like, okay, yeah, like I remember how to be like manic at this time, and now I have extra hormones, so I can do it even worse the next time. And had somebody recognized that the first time, she could have gotten the help that she needed. Also, Sam does an amazing job of explaining the stuff that I still don't even know well enough to explain it to you guys. But basically, if somebody is bipolar, then the medications that they would normally prescribe for postpartum depression have like the opposite reaction in your body. It like throws everything out of whack. So what it would normally help in somebody that's not bipolar makes like 50,000 times worse than somebody that is bipolar. You should listen to Sam and not me. Okay. I don't know what that blank one was. Like I said, I threw this together really quick. Really just needed to rage.
Another important thing to remember throughout the course of this trial is that this is...
Oh yeah. Now this part, she's about to be like, just because Lindsay looks like sad and helpless and loving and blah, blah, blah right now, don't forget when this happened, she was a monster. So like, you don't get distracted by her right now. She might look sweet right now, but like, you trust me, she's really a monster. Yeah, just watch.
Not a case about the Lindsay Clancy that sits before you today. This case is about the Lindsay Clancy on January 24th, 2023, at the time of the crimes. This was not a woman in the throes of psychosis on January 24th, 2023. This was a woman who acted intentionally, rationally, and swiftly to accomplish a very specific goal: to kill. You'll see and hear evidence about all the things that she did that day, what she did in the days leading up to this incident, leading to the murders. You'll hear her spending time with her family and friends. You'll hear her appearing to be in good spirits and doing better for all intents and purposes. On that very day, you'll hear she interacted with people at the doctor's office. She came home and took care of the kids. She talked to people on the phone and via text message. The evidence will show you she was not psychotic that day.
Now, we can just sidestep the fact that she just said that Lindsay was acting rationally after she talks about, or right before, actually, I think she talks about how I can't do the bow anymore. You know what the problem? Hold on. I feel like bows are never like the right size. Like this is big, but it's still not big enough. And then when it's like they're weird. I think they're fun, but like I don't know. She's making me not like them. She just said that Lindsay's acting rationally, and then is going to go on to say that she heard voices. Like that's not in dispute that at that time she said that she heard a voice, even though she ignored the fact that she had heard it before too. So it was rational, calculated, and she heard a voice. Which one is like, even if you wanted to get on board with the Commonwealth's case, it's not possible. Like, I don't even know where to go with them. So let's see what was actually going on. This part gets a little heavy. We're going to channel it into rage. On January 24th, 2023, Lindsay woke up severely depressed with thoughts. She gave the children breakfast. She took Cora to the pediatrician because Cora complained of a stomachache. Later, she went to the backyard with the children, built a snowman, and sent a picture to Patrick and her mother. The hallucinations continued all day nonstop. Later in the afternoon, the voice began saying, so in the afternoon, she's already hearing the voice, "You should harm the children." Lindsay thought about dinner and realized she had not prepared anything. She asked Patrick about takeout. She looked at a map to see how long it would take because she did not want to be alone and needed help. So for anybody who's like, she looked at the map because she wanted to know how much time she was going to have. She's been planning this. With them looking at the map thing, her husband was away in New York the weekend before. If this was calculated, if this was planned, if this was something that she had wanted to do and was just this monster that had been waiting for the right moment, do you think she would have done it in the 45 minutes that she had while he was getting dinner or when he was away for the weekend? Like, even their argument about looking up where the restaurant was doesn't mean anything. Like, yeah. And now it's light in the mood again. Do you want to build a snowman? Come on, let's go and play. Okay, back to this. Make you guys cry about my voice instead. As soon as Patrick left to pick up the food, there was a loud, demanding, repetitious voice. It said, "This is your last chance, the children, so you can yourself." And then it got louder and said the same thing. Lindsay felt a force come over her. Lindsay experienced command auditory hallucinations. A, quote, demanding, powerful male voice explicitly ordered her. She felt an overwhelming, irresistible compulsion to comply, entering a dissociated, dreamlike state where her physical actions felt utterly disconnected from her conscious volition. She perceived her, quote, body was just acting, and she was merely, quote, watching herself do it. She reported that she had, quote, no choice but to follow these compelling directives. Lindsay described, quote, "I lost all control. My body started acting without any control on my part. I was just following commands, all action. This voice demanded action." Now let's compare. This is all they had to go on. They don't know. There's not like video of this. The Commonwealth does not have any other evidence to back up what they are asserting in that statement, saying this was cold, this was calculated. No, she's telling you it's your word against hers, and she's the one that did it and felt it and experienced it. So for the Commonwealth to then sit there, ignore all of this that they have access to, and bring that prosecution instead is so weird. Like Lily said, why do they want to prosecute her so bad? The only explanation is that the DAs are all in this competition to see who could be the worst, because besides that, I cannot think of another reason why we're doing this. I mean, okay, let's pretend that Massachusetts isn't the worst right now. I can see, to answer that question in good faith, to give them all whatever in the best light, I can see there being you're an attorney and you have a very like a sense of the world where like justice happens in the courtroom, and that there is an action and then there is a consequence that is brought down by the court. And this is something that like you've gone to law school, you've tried all these cases, and probably there is a part of it where it's like every case is sad, and the way that you kind of resolve those feelings is that you get like justice for the victim, and justice looks like a life sentence. Justice looks like 25 years in prison, and then you're like, okay, I got that justice. Like I can move on from this now. This is just me speculating. And so they might have a feeling where they're like, these children deserve to be alive right now, and because they're not, like, we want to get justice for them, and in our heads, justice happens in the courtroom. The problem with that is not what justice is. And even our legal system says that. Our legal system has language written in for people experiencing exactly what Lindsay was experiencing. And you would expect that we would have a district attorney's office, that we would have prosecutors that would say, this doesn't feel like justice. Like spinning the words that the defendant told us she was feeling into something brand new and making up our own version of what happened is not justice, because now you're not accurately representing the person who took those children out of the world in the first. Like it doesn't match. That's not justice. But here we are.
Another important thing to remember throughout the course of this trial is that this is not a case about the Lindsay Clancy that sits before you today.
I already heard that one.
This
There was probably something else I wanted to show you there. But this part I think is really important, because something came up on Twitter where I saw somebody posted a video of a woman who had done something similar to her kids, and was like, the post was saying that this is a person who is really experiencing psychosis. And in that video, the woman was saying like, I brought my child to God. And there's like a religious component to like the psychotic state, where you're like, oh yeah, like that person is in psychosis because they're talking about like God in this case. Well, that is also what happened to Lindsay, and we haven't heard about this at all from the prosecution. But it says in her civil filing, Lindsay proceeded to each of her children, uttering, "Go to God, baby." Following these acts, she undertook a severe attempt, ingesting a substantial quantity of various medications, her wrists and neck, and jumping from a second-story window approximately 20 feet to the ground. Lindsay suffered catastrophic injuries, including a thoracic spinal cord injury resulting in permanent paralysis below the sternum. She also suffered multiple closed fractures of her cervical, thoracic vertebrae, and multiple rib fractures. I know what I wanted that clip to be. I'm not going to be able to find it right now. Pretend the clip I just showed you was the one where the prosecutor is talking about how her injuries to herself were just superficial. And so that was like all part of the plan. You know what? This tracks for Massachusetts. Mass Lady 123 said Cruz, the district attorney in this case, is running unopposed for district attorney in Plymouth County this fall. That tracks, because that was Morrissey for so long. And when there aren't, and I'm so glad you just said that, because this is why I think this is so important, and why doing something like this, like us talking about this, us becoming really aware of like what is happening in these courtrooms really does to me feel like justice. Because when there is not what's done in the dark, nobody knows about, they can just keep on doing it. Like when we are aware of what is happening in these courtrooms and when we are aware that like justice for them doesn't look like justice to us, then we can make the Commonwealth a little bit safer and a little bit better. And when there are more eyes on what's happening, we really do have the power to make things better. And I think we need that because like Cruz is running unopposed. Of course he is. Of course he is. And did you see in opening statements, Reddington pointed right at Cruz sitting in the front row and was like, this district attorney brought this case and basically said like, this is BS because of this district attorney right here. And still he's going to keep being the district attorney because he's running unopposed. Well, I'm not even going to get into this right now, but of course the cuts looked deep. Devin said, Patrick even said on the stand, the cuts, he said it looked like somebody had sprayed blood all over the room. And then the district attorney found like one wall that didn't have blood in the pictures and was like, is there any blood on the walls? And Patrick was like, well, not on that wall, but like show the other one that had all the blood on it. Like it's misleading. If you're going to win a case, like win it the right way. Like you want to get a win so badly, then like be better. Like if you want to get a win, then you have to prosecute the facts of the case as it is, not just the ones that you wish happened. And I think that was the last clip I want to show you. So now I can rant about this. I don't even understand what they want the jurors to think. So their claim is like Lindsay was just going to take out her kids and then pretend to take her own life so that then she could just like live the rest of her life child free and paralyzed. Like that's following their logic. That's what they want the jurors to think, like, oh, she just faked this so she could just be paralyzed and have no kids. That's not a thing that people do. If you're doing something calculated, we just heard her say calculated. Brian Koberger did something calculated. He like scoped out a house for weeks, went back, stalked people, like made a plan, bought things in advance, timed it the way that he wanted it, turned off. That is calculated. None of this is calculated. Like what was the calculation? What was 1 + 1 = 2? What was the calculation? Like what did she calculate? Like I really truly would love to hear this prosecutor answer that for me of like, so what was, it was so cold and calculated. Like what was the plan? What was the end goal? Like what? None of it. It's not calculated. Like this is crazy. Yeah. Like, I just, none of it makes any sense. And yes, her injury, she did all the things that people do to take their own life all at once. Like all the different things that people try, she did it all at once. You don't do that if you are like joking. Like I don't even understand what the claim, like, oh, she was just faking. No, that's not true. And you know what really gets me is if Lindsay had succeeded in taking her life, it would have just been a tragedy. Like nobody would have spun these facts any other which way, except if you saw this on the news and if these same prosecutors that are prosecuting her now heard this same story, they would have said, oh, that is so terrible. That is so sad. She was reaching out for help all over the place. She couldn't get it. And now she's not here and the kids are not here. And poor Patrick, oh my goodness, he lost everything and like he's devastated. The fact that she survived lets them like spin it into something new so that they can torture her and torture him and torture their families. Like none of it makes any sense. And I just don't understand why you like, let's say that, and this is the other thing that does make me a little bit nervous is like, I feel like we see this the way that like I see it, we as a collective, you guys in the chat, but there are definitely people out there who would vote on a jury to find Lindsay guilty of all the things and to sentence her to life in prison, no questions asked. And like, if that does happen, there is I think there are other cases that I've followed now, like Edric Faust is the first one that comes to mind, where it's like, I felt like I saw Chris Melton's testimony so clearly, where I was like, oh, he's the one who did it. The jury's going to get that, obviously. And they voted very quickly for Edric Faust to be found guilty and is in jail now. And I don't trust juries because of things like that. There is the potential that the jurors are going to find her guilty. And are the prosecutors going to leave that day and be like, high five, like, great win, got her? Like, I hope. See, so Silver Swag said, no way 12 people are going to agree. Like, I hope so. I think it's going to come down to, and I really do have a lot of like faith in Reddington in this case. I feel like he's been like the human in the courtroom, like the one showing like humanity and empathy and care. And it's going to come down to him kind of like explaining their task at hand when they go to deliberate. Because if jurors are at all confused, if they're like, oh, we're just supposed to say like who did it, like, oh, it was Lindsay, like, yeah, that's not the question. So I hope that is made like overly clear to the jurors, that they're not trying, this is not a whodunit, and they're not going back there to be like, okay, yep, she did it, so she's guilty. If a jury could find Andrea Yates not guilty by reason of insanity, then they can do the same with Lindsay, who actually has a history of downhill mental illness and postpartum. And I think Lindsay does have the advantage right now of like this happening at a time where I think people are more aware of mental health struggles and understand it a little bit better than the time that Andrea Yates was on trial. Yeah, it's like we see these juries get things wrong all the time. And at this point, I guess we just have to trust that the jury is going to get it right. If anything, it's the bow. Like, you think the jurors are going to vote for the bow? Zach, it's not even late. Oh, it is kind of late. Oh, that reminds me, before we wrap up for the night, tomorrow morning at 9:30, I'm going on Something's Off with Mel because Rebecca's on vacation, and I'm very excited about that. I think we're going to talk about some FOIA stuff. I think we might talk about Lindsay some more. I like going on other people's channels, and I can just fly by the seat of my pants and I don't have to do anything. So that will be fun. And I want to remember to redirect you guys there at the end of this. But yeah, so that was everything that I wanted to. Oh, and I need to download the new song. Fervent has a new song. Actually, wait, we're going to do a Fervent break right now because Fervent's been putting out some of the funniest stuff right now. Okay, wait. Can I take 1 second of your time, dead air, and send myself, how am I going to find this? There was a video that popped up for me on TikTok, and it was one of those videos where they make a song out of the comments on a post. And okay, so the post was, this woman was making her husband lunch, and she packed him like the biggest lunch on the planet. And the comments are so funny, and they made a song out of it, and I want to play that for you. Then I sent it to him, and then he ran with it and started making songs out of the comments on his videos, and they're so funny. Okay, here's what I'll do so I don't like totally waste your time. I'll show you one of the ones that he made first, and then I'll find this one because I was like, when you're watching a video and you're like laying in your bed by yourself, just like I feel like I get into like another mode. Like the laugh that comes out of me doesn't even sound like me. Like my stomach hurts so badly. I was trying not to wake my husband up, like dying, absolutely dying. And that is how this made me feel. And I need you guys to see it too. So I'm going to play the one that he made out of the comments. Okay, so this is one. This is the song that he made from the comments on Gretchen Voss's post of her fiction story. I mean, her Boston Magazine article about jurors on bouncy houses and lobster trucks and Emily C., the most wretched monster in the whole world. These are the comments. Enjoy.
Thanks.
Not even a little bit right. I will try again. What is going on in my life?
Credibility I once had. No thanks.
There we go.
Any credibility I once had for your writing has flown way over the cuckoo's nest for me. Just one lady's opinion though. You suck at your job. Is that version 1 or 2? What will you do once the truth comes out? Garbage journalism, hack of a writer, did not fact check, wouldn't recommend, 0 stars. Did you fix all the lies? How much whiteout did you use? David Yannetti says you're biased and incompetent. I believe him. What about the part where Jen McKay told a friend of Colin's to put a dick in her mouth and not repeat that Colin called her for a ride away from 34 Fairview late that night? No thanks. It's like the old days of reading the Inquirer and the Star. You are probably one of the worst journalists out here. You are a spineless, lying fool. Sad. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say Boston Defender won't have this magazine in his lobby. Your credibility is laughable. Thank you. My granddaughter's chinchilla needs to have his cage lined. Your article is perfect for it. Did you mention that you did shrooms with the McAlbert spokesperson? Gretchen Smollett.
So good. Okay, that account, hold on, Live Laugh Toaster Bath. This one, that username, I've told her this like 20 times on X already. Every time I see Live Laugh Toaster Bath, I just cannot stop laughing. And this comment, thank you, my granddaughter's chinchilla needs to have his cage lined. Your article is perfect for it, is so funny. That is so funny. Oh my God, that is so funny. Okay, I found the video. This is not fervent. This is from TikTok. I don't even know who made it. This is what I sent him, where I said you need to start making comment songs, and I'm so glad I did. So enjoy this one while I download his new song, and then we can end with that tonight. Oh my God, I'm so excited. I love this video so much.
Is he coming back? Yeah. How many people is your husband? Is it just one husband? What year does he come back from work? How many years does he shift? It's bring your work to lunch day. 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 What does he do for work? Eat lunch. Woo. Girls gonna need a second job to finish all this food. Maybe pack an extra burger in case it's still for after. I feel like his job is to sell lunch to other people on lunch. Ma'am, did you pack lunch for the comment section too? Cause they ate. Praying for your husband's safe return from space. Working a 9 to 5,000. Does he work Monday till September? Is he coming back? Working a 9 to 5. he work? 5 a.m. to 29 p.m. Honey, you forgot your lunch. Is the $10 for lunch in case he gets hungry? $10 just in case he gets hungry. Finishing his lunch. Finishing all that. Just bring your work to lunch day. 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 Plot twist, he works from home. Plot twist, he works from home.
My computer is failing me right now and won't let me download this. So we'll watch one more comment song while I try to figure this out. Isn't that so funny, though? She wasn't meal prepping, though. She put it all in a lunchbox. Okay, this is the comment song from the F You Hank videos. Okay.
This is what I often said during trial, too. I must have screamed, "Fuck you, Hank!" 9,000 times during that trial. A true mantra.
My husband just thanked me for getting him into this whole Karen Reed thing. He said the 2-year wind-up was worth it for this song alone.
My kid asked me what I was humming, and I definitely couldn't tell him the truth about this one.
This one is in my head all day long. I was just dancing through the grocery store singing this. This is in my head all the time. Standing in the kitchen, fuck you, Hank. La, 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 la. In the shower, oh, fuck you, Hank. La, 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 la. I would have paid money to see Lally's reaction the first time hearing this. The amount of times this song goes through my head daily is unhealthy. This is the greatest channel that I've seen in a long time. Volume 2 has to be F you chip. I've seen it 10 times and still get a gut punch. Even my girl, who is so fucking over Karen Reed, thought it was great. You know this is on Lally's playlist. You know Lally sings this song all day. Emily C has awesome taste. Well, I woke up with the remix of this playing in my head. F you Hank, Lally wanna bop ba. F you Hank, Lally wanna Bolly wanna bop ba. These have overlapped in my brain and play together now. I can totally see Hank getting pissed, blind smashed to tatters, and throwing empty beer cans at Lally's window while screaming, "You may be hung, but I won today." F you, Adam. I don't miss seeing Spanky, he's a loser. I wonder how many of the views are just mine.
Fervent, you're so good. It's everyone is so that one also just keeps growing on me. Like, I feel like the first time I was like focused on reading the comments while it was playing, and now I'm just like listening to the song, and it's so good. We're going to watch Fervent's newest song now. And while I'm nope, that's wrong. While I'm fumbling around clicking on lots of random things, I'm going to need you all to go make sure you're subscribed to Fervent because he's the best. And okay, if you haven't heard this yet, you need to be watching the screen if you're like me and you're usually listening, because the video with it is like, you just need it. This is Fervent's newest song called Pray. I just did the thing where it's not going to have audio. Hold on. Goodness gracious. Okay. 18th time is the charm.
Some people pray to Jesus.
Some people pray to Buddha. Some people pray to Allah. Some people pray to Jehovah. But me, I pray to Rosemary. I pray to Rosemary. I pray to Rosemary. Think this flow scary? You ain't heard Rosemary. You know how I pull up the court, rocking the scarf you can't afford. If you haven't heard me before, you should go watch Try on Fold. Oh, Proctor, you must be fooled. Been in this game since I did two. Exposing biggest is what I do. Look at what I just did to you. Put your face all over the news. You got no one to blame but you. Yeah, without that badge in your hands, it's a lot harder to look for news. Tell Lally he might be next. Tell Netflix to cut the check. Cause by the way I cook these witnesses, they all be calling me chef. Flow so cold, call it Burberry. Don't make me clutch my pearls, baby. Lally, you feeling hurt, baby. Proctor, you feeling cursed, baby. Oh, that's okay, baby. Let me put you on game, baby. Next time you pray, baby, you better pray to Rosemary. Bitch, I pray to Rosemary. I pray to Rosemary. Think this flow's crazy? You ain't heard Rosemary.
So good. Oh my God, it's so good. Wait, also, did anybody watch this earlier with Peter? Did they agree? I feel like I'm going to be interested to watch that. Do they agree with what we were just talking about? Did they rage at Massachusetts? Because they should be. Okay, that's everything I have for you guys tonight. I will make Zach happy and go to bed. But I will see you guys tomorrow morning at Something's Off. And you guys are seriously the best. You make me very happy. Even talking about heavy, really sad topics, it's fun with you guys. And I appreciate you all very much for being here. And I will see you tomorrow. And I hope you have a lovely, wonderful evening and have sweet dreams.
If you need a place to breathe, some stress to just relieve, then come watch Emily see, where we keep it drama free. We want justice for John O'Keefe, Aiden and Kelsey, waved bye bye to Morrissey. Let's clean up Norfolk County. Not today. And now it's time to say goodbye. But before we say goodnight, just keep one thing in mind. Please like, comment, subscribe.